Trust the process. Pain is power. All great things take time. I am Unbreakable. Unbreakable.
And listeners at home, we're always going to stick side by side next to you. You're not alone in this, and whatever you're going through, it only calluses you and it makes that mind solid as gold. So without further ado, Jessica, I mean, you come across people that just move differently.
It's like a magnet. Mm-hmm. Like, that's all I can say is it's very, very rare that you could, like, we've had this conversation in the past where you can see rawness, you can see truth, you can see passion. So without any further ado, Miguel Aguilar.
There you go.
Thank you, brother.
No, likewise. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
We really appreciate this.
Likewise.
And like I said, this is episode 1.
Yeah.
And for us,
like
you're not only doing us, you're not even doing us a service. It's not about us. It's about our audience.
Yes.
And if we're able to join forces and come together and to tell our stories on this platform, that's all we're about here.
Yes.
And like I said, we appreciate you. Your story moved us.
Oh, thank you.
And it's just, you set the bar, not even for everybody, but for us.
Yeah.
And we're honored, and that's all I can
say. Well, I appreciate the opportunity. It's definitely important to definitely tell the story as much as possible. Even though sometimes, we've done multiple podcasts in the past before, but it's always something different comes up.
Absolutely.
And the beautiful thing is how organic it can actually become and authentic, because in all reality, it's like you can't fake this shit.
You can't, not at all.
And when I tell my story, actually, it's very therapeutic for myself, because I still battle internal demons just like anybody else, and it just allows me to understand how far we've come, how far personally I have developed by telling my story and being able to share it with your guys' audience. And I appreciate it, and I'm humble. It's doing, God's work indirectly in a sense.
Absolutely.
Because people need to understand that no matter what the setback, no matter what the outcome, no matter what the triumph too, that we've all either been there before or have had similar challenges. And there is a way out. And there is a way to persevere and continually progress forward, even given your circumstance situation.
Yep.
Even though sometimes, in the moment, when I was in the darkest parts of my life, you don't see that, and people tend to I understand, like, I can empathize with a person that says, how can you say it gets better? How can you say I'm gonna overcome this dark situation? I was like, bro or sis, I've been there. It's just a mindset that you need to have, because in all reality, if not you, who's gonna do it? Someone else is gonna do it.
So Miguel, for the person that doesn't understand the power of the mind, for someone who hasn't delved into subconscious mind and being able to transform your mind into something self-made, what do you tell that person that's at home right now, that's going through a tough time? They just lost a loved one. They went through a breakup. They went through a breakup. They're in foster care. They just got taken away from their parents. My sister and I went through that, and it was something really, really tough. You don't know what's going to happen, but the mind, it's a magnet. It creates our reality.
Right.
At what point did you discover that? What point did self-made?
Like, how did you know?
Exactly.
Since the age I can remember my parents in my life, in a whole, 4, 5, 6 years old, I knew that if I ever wanted something, I needed to do it myself. Very, very crazy background in a sense when it comes to my childhood, right? So between my mom being, psychotic and delusional and fabricating stories, even fabricating the death of myself, to my family members.
How old were you at that age?
I was about 9, 10, 11, around there in that age bracket.
So
before the last year, around that age bracket.
So at you knowing that at that age, what went through your mind?
It's first you're confused. You're completely at loss of what exactly is happening and why is my mom telling people I'm dead to collect money and hides me in a closet and tells me to sleep in the closet and not to come out at all. You know, that right there at that age, you're like, dude, this is my mom. Why is she doing it? But then you accept it and you're like, okay, this I guess is normal. You don't know any different. Right. You know, that's the problem is people don't know any different. So when they're in that situation, in that dark situation especially, is they know no different. One thing that I did know is that, you know, the people that I either looked up to or saw within my family or my friends' families, I knew there was a different life. I knew there was parents that truly cared for their kids. And eventually I would have that.
So you knew there was possibility.
Oh, 100%.
So it was like, it was very tunnel vision, but you knew it's possible.
Oh, 100%.
That's amazing. In manifestation, a lot of people visualize. That's something that you do, you know, law of attraction, being able to visualize is a different sense. When did you start getting into doing that? Because self-made, everything around you, you're creating. You have your own niche. You have a very West Coast vibe in the fitness industry. I've never seen anything like it. I'm a hip-hop artist, I'm a rapper, and it's insane what you're doing, man. From the Impala, your exotic cars, self-made, your real estate, your clothing line, your supplement lines, all of it is a creation around you.
Yeah. It's one of those things, again, manifestation is powerful. People don't understand. They called it daydreaming when I was growing up. Stop daydreaming, Miguel. You know, I would put it this way. When I was about 16 and a half, 16, 17, right when my dad got incarcerated, they sentenced him to 22 years. He went to Tehachapi State Prison. And at that point, right, I was sleeping out of my car. And I remember crying my eyes out like a baby, and just at first I was like, why me? Why me? Why me? Why again? Why is this happening again with the people that are supposedly love you, right? And I was crying my eyes out, and at the same token, something happened. I started laughing, and I started visualizing what my life was going to be when I had my own kids, and visualizing when I had my wife, and when I had my job, and my things that I've always wanted. So I started laughing, and I was like, you know, at that point, I was like, watch and see. You know, I was telling myself, why not me at this point? What is it going to take for me to get out of this? You know, what decisions do I have to make now that are going to be crucial to my life?
Yes.
And at that point, you know, it was like getting a job, working graveyard. I used to work from midnight till 10 in the morning my junior and senior year. And then I go straight to class, from class, wrestling practice, get a couple hours of sleep, do it all over again. I used to do that literally 4 days out of the week.
And through this whole process, you were sleeping out of your car?
I was sleeping out of my car until my assistant wrestling coach took me in, gave me a floor to sleep on, not even a bed, a floor to sleep on or a couch, whatever was available. And that allowed me to start the path of navigating somewhat successful.
So I know you mentioned in your past videos you have a younger brother.
I do.
Right? So where was he through this entire process?
So this is where I still hold a lot of guilt when it comes to my younger brother. And every time that gets brought up, it gets me a little bit, because I was so naive, I was so young. I was trying to protect my brother. You know, we didn't want to go through the school system. We didn't want to let the school know, because we didn't want to get separated. We've been in that situation before with my mother, where we're separated and just things were crazy. So we didn't want to go through that system. So we kept it a secret. And I got the opportunity to go live with my wrestling coach. It was a Christian, you know, home, and they had, you know, fundamentals of a good living, right? And then he had the option to go live with his other friends, which still blessed our heart that they gave him a room, but smoking weed, doing drugs, drinking beer, you know, the normal. And we were already drinking at that age.
And that was already expected, considering your guys' circumstances.
Yeah, that was expected to happen. I was very fortunate. God blessed both of us, but unfortunately he had to go down a very negative path. And he was built different than I am. We're completely different opposite people, but he's a hard worker. He's a smart kid. I still call him a kid. He just turned 37, and this month actually, July 16th.
Yeah.
And I'm 37 now, turning 38 August 1st. So we're actually almost like Irish twins. You know, we're 11 months apart. But he had to go live in this house where that was his lifestyle. So what happens with that? You get into trouble. He didn't graduate high school. He didn't complete high school because he had nothing positive to go to. You know, I was very fortunate I had wrestling and my wrestling coaches. And those are my brothers too, you know. I loved wrestling so much. It's the only reason I graduated high school. I had to keep my grade point average to wrestle. So that's the only reason I studied somewhat, you know. And then it's the only reason I graduated. I wanted to get a scholarship, and that's what I wanted to do.
And that's amazing because Les Brown says birds of a feather flock together.
100%.
And you realized that at a young age.
I did. And yeah, you backtrack that to, you know, back when I was in middle school and elementary school, I used to think I was a gangbanger, you know. I used to pretend, or call me whatever you want to call me, but that was my lifestyle. And I kept getting into trouble, kept getting, you know, doing drugs. I started doing drugs when I was 12, okay? And it was all bad, and I channeled my energy in fighting. Like, I literally have scars all over my you know, from people's teeth and who knows what. You know, forged knuckle here because I broke it, and that was my norm. That was my birds of a feather flock together, right? And as soon as I got into wrestling, obviously it's a completely changing demographic. You got more of the jock setting, but these guys were, you know, coming from good families, or if not, they, you know, they put all their energy to athletics, into wrestling. Yeah. And as soon as I got into that, then that changed.
It kept you grounded.
Kept me grounded. It gave me I was super thankful for that, but then of course these guys then hated me, so I was fighting them now with my wrestlers. So it was just one vicious cycle. Same thing with, you know, the separation with my brother. He went to that household, and that created his environment. That was his lifestyle. He knew no better. Look, he was 16 years old, you know.
So you carried that with you.
Oh, 100%. I feel at blame, you know, because it sucks because I love my brother. Me and my brother, if you look at every picture we ever had growing up, I was his protector. I was his big brother. My brother and I were super, super tight all the way up until high school, until that separation. He got more and darker into that space. I was like on that gray area, that line, like teeter-totter. One in complete darkness, one in some light. And that kept me grounded somewhat. He was completely on that other side. Didn't finish high school, got into trouble. He was sleeping out of the orange groves for a while. He you know, alcohol and drugs became a part of his life. It still was a part of my life, but then yet still channeled my wrestling. So
he never got out of it.
He never got out of it until just recently. I'm super proud of him. He celebrated his 2nd year sobriety.
Wow.
You know?
Amazing.
Let's give it
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
we could relate to you, Miguel, because as I mentioned earlier, you know, my brother and I, all we had was each other. Mm. And I had to do what I needed to do as an older sister to ensure that he didn't follow his dad's footsteps.
Yeah.
And, you know, gangs, prison, drugs.
Yep.
It was expected.
Yep.
But I did everything I could. And till this day, it's like you go through that separation, but you got to pull each other back.
100%.
And I get you, and I can feel your pain. I can feel that. And, you know, I applaud you for, you know, getting out of that and for just becoming self-made.
Yeah.
Like, it's truly amazing, and it's inspiring to anybody that is going through it.
Yeah, and it's all power of choice.
Absolutely.
Everything's a power of choice. I'm not perfect. I made a lot of mistakes. You know, I battled through my drug and alcohol addiction as well. I had no parents since the age of 16, so you can imagine what the kind of stuff I was getting into between the drugs, the you know, the abusive parties. I mean, I would have every Friday, everybody from high school would come to my apartment. I drain my refrigerator with food, get it all out, and just fill it up with beer. Beer, and then Mad Dog 20. You look at every picture that I have from high school on, I was like, I would carry a Mad Dog 2020. That was my drink.
Wow.
Because it was $3, it was cheap, and I'd get super, you know, wasted. But it's not something I'm proud of, so it's not something I'm condoning. But that's just where I was at that time, you know. So you can imagine there's a lot of kids out there, a lot of youth, even some adults, you know, that are going through these things. It's all power of choice.
Absolutely.
You know, I was very fortunate through my recovery in the last 4 years. I just celebrated 4 years in June.
Let's give him a hand of applause. Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's amazing. No, that really is amazing.
It's been the best thing I've ever done. It gave me so much clarity. The success of self-made is because of my sobriety.
Wow.
You know, think about it, because I failed in my real estate career, which I'm still very successful at real estate for individual stuff, and I still have a small brokerage where I still manage 5 real estate agents. But 2012 prior, I had Realty Rollers Associates, a huge brokerage, a lot of agents. I ended up taking the whole bottom floor, growing real big real quick, thought I was the shit, and then it got pulled underneath me, you know. I made some really stupid mistakes, and it was always because I was clouded. I was a functioning drug addict, alcoholic. I ended up, you know, working my ass off Monday through Friday, and then come weekend, I'll disappear. And I mean disappear, not physically disappear, mentally and spiritually disappear. And whether it was be a barbecue, whether I'm doing coke, whatever it was, I was disappearing, you know. And I can always say that probably had something to do with my failures. Why? Because I never had clarity, and I was battling this internal demon of not fully loving myself.
So at what point in time did you realize this, where you're like, you know what, the drugs have to stop, self-made has to, the clarity's there, I can see that
when
I'm
did it
clear
become
when I'm
clear
not
to you?
doing it.
Yeah.
When was it clear?
The best way I can put it, right? I know I have a problem with my pride and ego. So I learned how to check that after my bankruptcy. In that same token, even after bankruptcy and having the blessing of opening up our garage gym, from our garage gym to our first commercial location to now the empire that we're in.
So
that
how
first
long
year,
ago was that?
That was 5 years ago, but franchising only 3. This November will be full 3 years of franchising, and we sold 21 locations.
Wow, that's amazing.
In 4 different states, going on our 5th state. I fly out to Dallas, Texas next week, and then I have Nashville on the hook right now, which is awesome because that'd be great to be up in Nashville. I love Nashville, actually. I like country music. You know, yeah, I like country music. I like hip hop. I like everything. But anyways, you know, for me to actually finally realize how much hurt I was in, I had a weekend binger. Well, first, let's retract. So at this point, I already had the facility open for about a year. Me and my wife were working the system, getting everything established, working on our second location. And ever since the beginning of the establishment of Self-Made Training Facility has been to empower personal trainers to be successful in this platform, in this foundation, right? And to empower them, they have to believe in themselves, right? So in my responsibility as the owner was to pull everything I possibly can to get them to understand how valuable they are and how amazing their craft is. They're not just a tool like corporate gyms have created that establishment for them. You know, corporate gyms has devalued and underpaid and micromanaged that industry to its fullest. It's a money thing for them. For us, I was like, how do I change this for them? How do I get them to believe in themselves and believe in their craft, that they're actually saving and improving people's lives? So you should not be devalued because somebody else thinks that you're worth X, right?
So this was coming from a place of love.
100%. I wanted to help them make a lot of money because I know what a lot of money can do. And it's not buying just a car. It's the life one lives when they have a good source of income.
Not only opportunities that come.
Yeah, it opens up many other doors. And, you know, they're feeding their families, they're feeding themselves, but yeah, they can upgrade their car. Yes, I have guys that bought their first house because of what we established, right? And I didn't know how great and how big this was going to get. But that was my main focus. And at the same token, as I'm building these entrepreneurs, these young individuals that are between the ages of 18 and 30, I'm already 30 at this point, 32 or 33, and I'm like, this is amazing, it's fulfilling, right? But in the same token, that voice in my head, I was a hypocrite, I was yet a flawed, I was a fraud, I was everything negative. I was calling myself out in the mirror and everything else because I'm promoting this, you know, wealth is, you know, health is wealth and success and entrepreneurship and leadership, lead by example, all that. And yet I'm not leading by example.
So at that time, were you still using?
Oh yeah, I remember I was still doing real estate and I was still using, I was still with the facility. I remember having a binger all night, you know, staying up all night doing coke and drinking and just hanging with the guys and hanging with the team, you know. Not the training facility, but, you know, these other friends I had that nobody else knew I had. You know, we all had our own little secret demons. No, I was still partying.
So I must ask
I was functioning.
Where was your wife through this entire process?
She was with me.
How did she feel? How did you guys like?
The problem with that is that me and my wife met partying, right? And we regret that because we should have traveled. We should have done so much, but we're thankful for it as well because it taught us a lot about ourselves. But at the same token, she was right there with me. So I didn't have somebody telling me not to do this stuff, right? Or if I did drink, when I did drink and I drank to pass out and I drank to get drunk, I didn't drink 1 or 2 drinks. I literally, like vodka was my drink. Vodka tonics, a little bit of lime, 6 of those, I'm good. 6 more sound even better. No, 6 more, I'd better go get some Coke, do a little bit of blow, and then I'm doing it all over again. And I'm drinking 6 more. That was my life. I was functioning. And then I wake up the next day and go show real estate. Like nothing. Wow. Right? So talk about being a hypocrite. I was a hypocrite. So my wife was, she let it happen to a certain extent. But I remember Father's Day weekend, we're in Lake Havasu. The gym is doing amazing. The training facilities are doing amazing. I have 2 locations. They're flourishing. Everything is great. And at the same token, I'm always feeling like a hypocrite. It's like I'm telling these guys don't go drink and party, but I'm over here drinking and party. Yeah, it was eating me up. And then finally, after a 4-day binger at Lake Havasu, drinking, driving, being stupid, getting so wasted and plastered that on the drive home, I just got done drinking the night before. We get everything packed up. We go to Lake Havasu a lot because we have a house and a boat out there. But we were driving home. I'm getting these sweats, and this depression kicks in, and this suicidal feeling again comes in. Yeah, because I've had it before and I knew it was coming. I tried to kill myself a few times and it's unfortunate, but one was when, my mom left us. The other one was, when my dad left us or he got incarcerated. But the only thing that saved me was I had to stay for my brother. I had to protect my brother. And then the last time was, the third time, I tried to do coke all night, and I said, if I'm going to go out, at least I'll go out partying. And I had like this outer body experience where, I was looking at myself and we had it on a plate and everybody else was asleep. I was still rolling at it and sweat was hitting the plate and wetting everything. So it kind of saved my life, Wow. And it stopped. And then from there, just realized everything. And then again, I always put it underneath the rug. I just, whatever. I'm good now. It was just a phase, right? And then this last time, it lasted a lot longer. I got home. I was super depressed. My wife said, "Oh, you're just hungover," and I was like, "Nah, there's something wrong.
Something different, like you felt it.
Yeah, internally. Something different." And at that point, I woke up like 3 or 4 days after that, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm getting these notifications of the training facility, and I'm like, dude, how can I live like this? How long can I run this game before it bites me in the ass like it did every time prior? Because I've done jail time, I've done, stupid shit. And it always bites me in the ass. It's like, pretty soon I'm going to either lose my wife, lose my kids, and lose my business. Something's going to happen again. Mm-hmm. And from that day forward, June 19th of 2015, I decided to stop. I chose. But every time I tried to get sober before, I always demanded, no, you can't drink, Miguel. You can't do drugs.
It was a lot of self-talk.
Yeah, but it failed me because whenever you put I'm a Leo alpha.
That's it. You can't stop me.
You can't stop me, right? So if I tell myself I can't do something, no, let me show you how you do it and how aggressively I'm gonna do it, right? So that last time I spoke to myself and I said, you know what, Miguel, I think you should choose to stop. I think you need to choose your wife, your kids, your life, and look, God's giving you an amazing platform to lead other people, so use it. Yeah. And I'm a man of faith, even though I've done so wrong. It's again, I have this platform. Some people would die for this platform, and they misuse it.
Of course, they don't know what to do with it.
They don't know what to do with it, or they're portraying to be something completely different, or falsifying the thing. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was a fraud. I was promoting health and fitness. I was promoting success through health and fitness, but yet I'm living a double life.
But you recognized it.
I was able to recognize it. I took control. Amazing. But I chose to. It wasn't so much of a demand. And when you choose something, because I didn't go to AA, I didn't get in trouble this time, I didn't go to jail. I have a DUI. I've done jail time and county time, and because of my actions.
Miguel, would you say it was a change in your consciousness?
Oh yeah, I became aware of who I am, and for the first time in my life, I decided to actually love myself for even my flaws.
It's amazing.
Now, to recognize that, did you have to spend alone time? Did you have to really get to know yourself?
It was forced. It wasn't forced alone time, but naturally, when you become sober, guess what happens? No one calls you anymore. You know, even to this day, people won't invite me to their birthday parties, and it sucks. And I would lie.
They don't want to like sway you.
Yeah,
Or put that
and the thing is, I'm good
alcohol
now.
in there.
Like I go to the lake, people drink around me, and I'm okay with that. It's your choice. Like I tell people, look, at drinking, if you have that on and off switch where you can turn it off and you're good, hey, all power to you. I'm actually, pretty envious of you because I don't have that, and I'm able to recognize that I can't stop.
I notice about you, Miguel, is you have an abundance mindset. You have that flowing currency coming your way. Everything around us. This is amazing. For those of you that can't see this, we're in a huge facility right now. It's in Temecula, California. It's really nice.
And I need to give recognition to that mural back there.
Yeah.
Like you and your wife.
We're blessing this.
Is amazing. Like
so
it's amazing.
I told so I had a picture. I always take pictures where we're kind of blessing the situation, or I'm praying for wisdom. Like I pray for wisdom. I don't pray for things. I've never prayed for things. When I started changing my way of thinking and praying, because I've always prayed. I'm not. How can I say? I have my faith. I believe in what I believe in, and I know I have a higher power. And I pray. I used to pray of like, why me, God? Why would you do this to me? Or why? And instead, I was like, hey, give me the wisdom to be able to make the right decisions of what I need to do. But even then, I still have that little voice in my head that would make me do stupid shit. Well, not make me. I made it myself, But that's where it is. So the mural behind was to bless this office, bless this establishment, and it's me and my wife. My wife, she's my number one supporter. And we've battled that back and forth, but to this day, as crazy as I am, she has my back.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. We all come from the hood. We all grew up in rough areas. Our parents were incarcerated as well. And we grew up with our mindset being in a poverty mindset. It wasn't that abundant.
Yeah.
Now, for anyone watching at home, how do you make that shift? How do you go from kind of going through life with fear and
being energized? Like, how do you maintain it? Is it the momentum? It's
the challenge,
because you have to have some bad days.
Oh, I have bad days every day. I had a bad day yesterday, and until I worked out, I felt good. You can ask my CEO Dean, my right hand man. I love that dude, but yesterday was a funk. I wasn't feeling it. I was pissed off at the world. And then I went, hit mitts, and dude, I was on cloud 9.
You're like a champ.
Yeah,
like
back the end.
Back.
Then, like this morning, I rolled this morning. I tapped somebody out. I was aggressive. I was like, dude, I'm good,
But
So,
Miguel, let's be honest. To even get to the mats is a battle up here.
Yeah.
It can be for the average person.
Yeah.
So to the average person, what do you tell them as far as, would you say the challenge is what's going to allow that?
They need to embrace it. The thing is, do not become a victim of your circumstances. Do not be the victim of your surroundings. Powerful. You don't have to be a gangbanger. You don't have to be a drug dealer. You don't have to go through those to learn the hard way of what not to do. Take advice and understand that we've been there before. I was very fortunate. I never got locked up. I never got busted with some of the stuff that I was doing, right? But understand that you don't have to go through that to be fortunate enough to not get busted, right?
Learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah, learn from us. Like at the end of the day, I'm nothing special, dude. I'm really nothing special. I'm not educated. I'm educated enough. I don't like saying I'm not educated because I've learned more than most by trial and error. And if I'm telling you this is the way it works and this is the foundation, the platform to navigate together with me, follow it.
Well, even now, everything that you're doing here at South Main Training Facility, I noticed that you're now educating your trainers.
Yes.
You're providing them courses, how to run their business, how to, market themselves.
Because we actually care.
And that's amazing, because you don't see that.
No, because I switched it. I lost a lot of money not caring. Pride and ego took the best of my real estate office. My pride and ego. When I used to go into my corporate meetings with my real estate agents, right? And I had a good aggressive real estate agents, but I was super aggressive. I was doing 3 or 4, 5, 6 deals a month. Like nothing. As I'm running the office, as I'm running the lending, the escrow, everything in-house. And I would start the meetings, if I am doing this, you can too. How fucking selfish is that? How retarded is that to say that? Like, how am I going to motivate somebody else? If I can do it, you should too. I should have started off. These are the simple principles that I'm using to get to there. Let me help you get there.
And if you build, like as a leader, it's not just about you. It's about building other leaders.
This business, the reason it's flourishing is because we give a shit. We actually care for our consumer, our athletes, our trainers, our staff, our employees. I take care of them, not only financially, but literally with tools and systems for them to be successful. If they don't use them, that's on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I tell them, this is not easy, but if you love health and fitness and you want to be successful, follow these principles and make them your own.
So it's like a magnet, and I could assume that, you're attracting all of that, and people want to be around that.
Yeah, they do, but they also will fight you,
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing about this. Like, I understand, especially in the last 2 years, I'm able to understand the human relationship. And I go in there with no expectations. Which a lot of people go in there with, I'm expecting you to do this, this, and this, and you're going to get this. Okay, cool. You're going to set yourself up to fail, and then you're going to build resentment and hate. And that's the last thing. Those two things I don't want in my spirit. And I've had that in the past. And I've actually had it in my training facility.
That?
I learned the hard way. I lost valuable people. I've broken valuable relationships. Now I've done my part of amending those and reaching out and say, hey, I'm sorry I fucked up. And sometimes they won't let that go, and I get it. But I'm willing to at least done my part and done that. But I go in with every relationship and not expecting a thing.
And when
let them flourish.
You no longer take things personal, it seems like.
No, you can't.
And
Humans are humans.
you're more aware now.
Yeah, you look. The human relationship is valuable, but you also understand no one's like me, and I can't enforce that in them, and that's a good thing, and that's a beautiful thing of me being me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So going back, Miguel, I know you mentioned that your mom came back in contact with you.
Yes.
So this was roughly, 7-8 months ago?
So yeah, almost a year. I would say about almost a year. It's been crazy, and that's another thing I'm trying to get over in how to forgive fully. I said I forgave her because look, my mom abandoned me when I was 12. She lied to us, said that she was coming back, that she was going to leave us with our dad. At this point, we didn't see our dad for a whole year prior, right? He disappeared on us. She reconnected with him, found him in Norco, California at the Yum Yum Donuts off of Hamner. Wow. That was his store. And a year later finds him, takes us down there with him, big old argument. We get to see our dad. I'm super stoked because I haven't seen my dad for a year. And I'm loving it. And then at that point, she tells us to get back in the car. We travel back to, this is when I was living in San Diego. So I grew up, I was born and raised in Riverside, but bounced back and forth from San Diego. And I was in San Isidro at that time. And we drove back home. And when we got home, she said, hey, how about in a couple weeks, you guys stay with your dad for a couple weeks since you haven't seen him. Is that okay if I coordinate it? We're like, hell yeah. Me and my brother, we haven't seen him for a year. Like, let's go, dude. He didn't tell us he was already married. He didn't tell us he had another kid. Wow. My mom coordinates it. We meet in Corona, California at the park. She tells us to go play. They're arguing again, talking. They wave us over. It's almost like still so vivid. It's crazy. She waves us over, and she says, Miguelito, she used to call me Miguelito. And Julio, this is what's going to happen. You're going to stay with your dad for a little bit, and I'll come back in a couple of weeks and pick you guys up, but you guys can stay with your dad. So make sure you listen and everything. And she starts crying, and we're like, well,
what's going on? Yeah,
but I didn't think nothing. My mom cried all the time. And she gives us a real big hug. I remember that was the last motherly hug I had from her. Wow. And she leaves. And then a week passed, phone call stopped. We're still staying in contact with her. And then 2 weeks pass, she doesn't come back. 3 weeks pass, 4 weeks, no more.
So literally up until 12 years old till now.
Till now. So 26, 25 years later, she found me on Facebook. And look, I've been on social media since this starts, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. I'm easily found. My name is very common, Miguel Aguilar. You can Google me, find me, and you put in there, you'll see me pop up. Yeah. So she always had access to where I'm at, if she wanted to look for me. And then out of nowhere, I get this Facebook call over and over, and his last name's Aguilar, and it's one of my aunts. And I pick up the phone, and this is an aunt that did not talk to us after all this happened, didn't offer her home, didn't do anything. She just pretty much called me out of the blue. I'm thinking, what do they want? Money always. And I pick up the phone, and she says, she called me Miguelito too, and she said, you're not going to believe who's here. And I was like, what? Who? I was like, your mom. And my heart dropped. And
so what went through your mind? What were those
I thought
emotions?
It was a lie. I was like, they're probably going to put some lady on there, say they need money, have me wire some money, and then they're gone, right? That's the Aguilars.
Typical,
like,
right?
literally, my mom has defrauded and created turmoil between the family. Like, she was a very evil woman, now that I look back. And it's hard to forget all that stuff. Like, literally, we moved every part of San Diego I probably lived in. El Cajon, San Isidro, Chula Vista, National City, Imperial Beach. And we lived at all these cities because my mama would force my dad and ourselves to move almost every 6 months to a year, because she burned all the bridges within the neighborhood, or she burned the bridges with the family that we were staying with, or she did something. I remember in San Isidro was the worst, right next to the border. It was the first time I've ever seen a dead body, the first time, I've seen people get shot, all kinds of stuff. So it was crazy there. And so when she said that, I was like, okay, this is fake, right? I haven't heard from my mom in 25 plus years. Why now? And she gets on the phone and she starts talking, and you will never forget your mother's voice.
Never. So it just, your heart dropped.
Oh, dude, it felt like I couldn't breathe. It was nuts. And I was actually sitting in the parking lot here, and I just didn't know what to say, And
what
anger came in, and at that point, that was the Miguel I never wanted to be again, And I kept like, why? Why now? And she's telling me her whole sob story, and I kind of lost it. I didn't say nothing negative. I say, hey, let me call you later. Let me collect myself. And she goes into that she needed money. And I was like, fuck, I knew it, It
was expected.
It was expected. So then from there, I kind of cooled down, called my wife right away. I was like, you're not going to believe it. Called my pastor right away. And then at that point, I was able to go on. We've had communications. I told her I did forgive her. She gave me this. Yet again, my mom has created something that I never want to be as a parent. So I'm glad that happened, because now I think I'm a good dad.
Yeah.
And
you know what not to do.
Right? And at that point, I told her I forgave her, and we stay talking every so often. But I would never trust her around my kids. I wouldn't bring her around my family, and it's unfortunate. And I still have that callous, like that unfortunate feeling I have of I feel bad for her, but then I also know what God would want me to do, and that's the battle.
The power of forgiveness.
Yeah.
So for people at home that are battling and dealing with the struggle of forgiveness,
yeah,
because we can relate with our parents. I mean, we were in the foster care system, and just for us to get out of that system was very, very hard.
I was able instantly to forgive.
Yeah.
I feel like I had to take that role as a parent,
yeah,
whereas my brother could relate to you more.
Yeah.
It was really hard for you. I'm sure, David, that you could elaborate further, but it was hard for him to forgive.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, to each their own, But
I realized that if I don't forgive her, then I carry that with me everywhere.
Dude.
And
it
that shit,
eats
I'm
you
too
up.
young for that.
Yeah, it eats you up.
We're about to get paper, and
yeah.
But no, man, that's why your story resonates with us on just a deep level.
Yeah.
Deep level.
On a truly deep level, that. Because you're so real.
And the thing is you can't fake this. You can't fake any of this, and that's why it's so easy to tell it. And believe it or not, it's therapeutic in a sense, because it releases that. And now me hearing myself talk, and maybe I should call my mom and say, hey, I really am sorry at this time, but let's try to have a relationship. But it's hard to have a relationship with a person that is still the same person. She hasn't changed, right? And I can't force her to change, and I think she's, done what she's done. I couldn't imagine leaving my kids. Like, my kids are 11 and 12 now, same age that me and my brother were, right? And it so happens she reappears around the same time. And it's like, and then my kids are a year and 3 days apart. It's funny how life is.
It's like a cycle.
It's crazy, and I'm breaking that cycle. That's the thing. I'm breaking it completely. I couldn't imagine leaving my kids. Imagine this. Imagine you're 12 years old, right? You're still a kid. Mentally, physically, you're a kid.
Emotionally,
imagine losing that motherly hug. Everybody knows what that motherly hug feels like. I had a bad day at school. Okay, mijo, let me take care of you. If I had, a fight at school. Okay, mijo, let me take care of you.
You're hungry,
if I'm
tired.
scared because there's freaking noises outside my window, Mom, Dad, come take care of me. Imagine losing that completely. The simplest things, right? And not having nobody to go to. So then what happens? I turn to drugs, and I turn to the homeboys, and I turn to those guys, because those guys will hear me out. And then my dad's too busy working that I don't get to see him. And the bond that I have with my dad, even though I love my dad, he was a heavy alcoholic. The only time my dad ever told me he loved me was when he was drunk. And I was like, and I embraced it. And I thought it was cool because he would give me a tall can so I'd drink with him, you know? And that was our bond. So breaking all those patterns, dude, it's challenging to this day. I'm 38. I'll be 38 August 1st. That's in a couple weeks.
Go.
I'm getting old.
Celebrate.
Yeah.
A lot of life accomplishments.
That's the thing. It's like, well, the thing is like you're never too old, never too young. Their age doesn't have a timeline. Like it doesn't. You have to act. You have to choose of what you want out of life, and then you progress forward. That's it.
It's amazing, and everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
I mean, all of this is self-made.
Yes.
Because of everything that happened. Everything happens for a reason, so in tune that your fighting spirit, I relate to it so much, man. It's crazy. For those of you that don't know, Miguel's competing August 10th as a wipeout. This is your first competition?
Yeah, first competition, jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Okay, and you do Muay Thai or anything?
I did Muay Thai for a little bit, then I ended up tearing my ACL snowboarding. I was actually going to try to do a smoker. Anything that I do, I have to compete in. It's just challenging.
Inevitable, right?
It's inevitable. I have to put it out to the test. And I grew up wrestling. Obviously, I love jiu-jitsu just as much as I did wrestling. It's a way for me to channel that negative energy that I carry every day, regardless. I don't care who you are. You know, I always tell people, there's people out there that are so evil that they have no good in them, and so good that they have no evil in them. So in other words, look, people are people, right? And I have these internal demons that I have to continually challenge myself to be able to push those. And people don't understand that. You know, they're like, oh, you're too old to roll. No, there's no age to it.
Not at all.
You know, and then it was like, well, why are you going to compete? What do you need to show off for? It's not showing off. So I got to put it to the test. Everything that I've learned, I got to put it in an environment that I'm not used to. You know, so imagine looking at business the same way. Look, there's entrepreneurs out there, and there's people that are starting their businesses or getting into employment or whatever their goal is, right? Their end game, per se. They read every book. They watch every podcast. They can recite everything to you. Oh, I've read this book. I got this line. All this wealth of knowledge to be able to act on something and make something amazing out of what they've learned, right? But they never do it.
It's all about practice.
They never challenge it. They get ready. They have this arsenal, but never go to war.
It's a fear.
Yeah, it's a fear. So for me, is everything that I've done, I've challenged myself by actually doing it. Yeah. Do I know the end result? No. Do I know if I'm going to win? No. I'm going to try to kill this fucking guy, but I don't know, right?
When we came in here, I saw the Art of War.
Yeah.
Sun Tzu right there, and that's crazy. You're just constantly feeding your mind.
But I'm applying it, you know, and they taught me how to kind of have that little zen in a sense. War doesn't need battle all the time.
You don't need any.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And then, I'm reading, what's the other book right now that I'm reading? Extreme Ownership. Extreme Ownership. I read that one.
Is that Jocko?
Oh yeah, Jocko's awesome, dude.
He's amazing, yeah.
And it teaches you another way of thinking, you know. But what good does it do if you don't apply anything that you've read? How many people have you met has gone to every fucking Tony Robbins seminar, and yet still you'll see them the next year again? Hey, what's changed? Oh, nothing. I'm just getting everything ready. It's like, get what ready? Just go fucking do it. What I learned
from Omar, he says, act on imperfect action.
Oh, big time.
And that is why we are here today.
Shout out Passionate Few.
Passionate Few, no.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, in our situation, we're acting, and it's out of fear. You know, we don't really have a clear direction of where we're going. All we know is we're chasing the impact, and we're trying to inspire people.
No one ever does have a clear direction. If everybody had a clear direction, everybody would be multimillionaires, billionaires.
So I need to ask you, Miguel, if you can change anything in your life, anything that you've encountered, every hardship, every pain, every failure, looking back, would you change it?
Nope.
So today, that's it. If you can have a different life, it would be this life.
No, because I'm still constantly learning from those mistakes.
That's amazing.
You know, I'm constantly evolving. I can honestly say that. Because if imagine this, imagine my parents weren't gone. And imagine they allowed me to go to college, right? What degree would I have chosen? And would I have been happy?
And you probably would have taken all those handouts.
Oh, big time. You know, and then I'd be an entitled kid. You know, or what if I never did drugs, right? I wouldn't know that nasty feeling afterwards. Now that I'm sober and I can give somebody advice of not to go down that path, or give them in a sense of sobriety or a chance to live based on my actions, because they see, oh, it can be done.
And maybe you wouldn't be a great husband.
Exactly.
A great father.
Oh, big time. That especially.
And that especially, like, we value that, like your morals, your values as a as a husband and as a father, it's amazing.
But even then,
and you don't see that.
I'm not even
often.
perfect at that. I'm still trying to learn how to be a great husband. I'm still trying to learn how to be even a better father. I'm trying to learn as much as I possibly can because it's evolving. You know, from the ages, like when me and my wife first got together, it was like the honeymoon stage, right? We're partying, having a good time, loving each other, everything's great. And then you get married, and then you have life, and you have these chapters that are always changing. We're on chapter 4 right now. Well, actually, chapter 12 if you want to go by year. You know, we've been married 12 years, and even then, thank you. And even then, it's a chapter. Every year, I'm learning something new about her. Now she's in nursing school. I have to embrace that. When to me, why be an employee? You know, go do your own thing. But then she has a goal to do her Botox and all that stuff. You know, get her education. So I embrace it and I support it. So that's even learning how to adapt.
And it's
to
something
that.
new too, right?
Oh, big time, dude! Life is challenging. Yet again, you got to go after it. So I have to practice what I preach with my wife as well, right? And then same thing with my kids. I can't force them to do sports, but thank God they love them.
How is it having 2 daughters?
Oh, I love it. If I would have had a boy, I would have been, you know, it would have been rough. I'm super aggressive. I'm alpha. With my girls, I'm super passive.
Keeps you soft,
Keeps me soft. You know, they teach me love and they teach me so much, and it taught me a lot more about, you know, women in a sense, right? To be able to embrace and respect. And I used to be a womanizer, you know, so I had no guidance from any parents, no real direction how to treat people. So I only went with what I learned at the moment of my surroundings. So that has taught me a lot, you know. I respect my wife.
Martial arts as well. Sorry to cut you
off.
Yeah, I'm sure with your martial arts as well, the male and the masculine and feminine aspect of martial arts is so... Oh,
it's crazy, dude.
Insane.
It's crazy. Like, martial arts, wrestling, anything that has to be with competitive contact sport. Look, the beautiful thing about, let's say, this competition I got coming up.
What you're going to take, by the way.
I'll take it. I'm taking gold.
Down.
I'm taking gold. And as soon as I take gold, right, I will share that success with my professors, with my teammates, with everybody that has helped me get there, right? Like the self-made family. That's what I call that. But if I lose and I don't take gold, I don't think that's going to happen. But let's just say, right, I take all blame. I take all responsibility. It's my fault, not nobody else's. That's the beautiful thing about that sport. In wrestling, same thing. It's you and that other person on the mat. You can't point the finger at anybody. The same aspect in business. Look at it. If somebody, you know what the key to success for athletes?
What?
Right? If they want to be multi-millionaires, right? Anybody that does bodybuilding, anybody that does any type of competition or any type of athletic sport, right? If they want to be multi-millionaires financially, they take the same principles they did in fitness in business.
Ooh.
That simple, right?
So you like rinse it, repeat. Basically.
Think about it. Look, for me to get abs, I have to follow a nutrition regimen and a workout regimen diligently. I can't navigate it. Yeah, right? Consistency, right? If I have to wake up at 6 a.m. to get my training, if I have to make sure that I prep all my food, if I have to make sure that I get X amount of workouts twice a day, whatever that is to get that physical look that you want, is going to take time and consistency.
Yes. So those daily habits, those daily rituals,
apply them in business.
What's going to get you.
You know, build the relationship. Make that a part of the habit in business. That's how I became a multimillionaire. I used my wrestling background to create what I created in business. In any business that I've ever done.
It's amazing.
I can't deviate away from that. Or guess what? You lose that match.
Yeah, and the wrestling also brought you humility because you're a very humble person.
Oh,
very, very humble.
It's really nice to be around.
Just the energy, everything about you. It's like you carry yourself very well and you're very approachable.
The thing is, I never want to be that person that has, I won't say even made it. I haven't even made it yet. Nothing's been made. Like, I will never retire. Mark my words. You can watch this podcast 20 years from now. Yes.
We will never retire,
I will never retire. I will pick and choose my battles, but I will never retire. Right? Because I'm always going to constantly be challenging myself, and I will never be made. I will never be, I will never say I made it. Even after cashing out 20 million, 30 million, or whatever that number is, right? And I never want to be the guy that can't be, like, do I make millions? Yes. Can I go buy what I want? Yes. You know, I always look at things in a sense. You always catch me in Vans. You always catch me just naturally dressed. And I've been in a suit Monday through Friday, and I hated it. I felt like a snake. It felt like it wasn't me. It wasn't a part of me. You know, you have to be authentic to who you are, and you still will make millions.
Yeah. Speaking of Vans, you know, you have your look, your whole brand. Right when we came in, we knew your car right from the start.
Yep.
We pulled in,
We're like, that's
Miguel's here. You're in the no parking zone.
Yeah, I know. I had to, bro. I can do whatever I want.
Right
Yeah. So I'll call the police on them.
Gift, and we just wanna.
No, I appreciate that. To have you guys know that I love Vans, obviously, that was an awesome gift, by the way. But even aside of the gift, I'm super proud of what you guys are doing. I met you guys obviously at Omar's event. I didn't know that was going to come out of this. And it's one of those things, you guys took action behind the thought and the idea, which a lot of people tend not to do, right? So to be able to do that and have somebody like myself be on your podcast, your very first podcast, that's huge. And it's like something I'm like, oh shit, man, now I've got to hold the bar up high. But it's one of those things where you guys took the initiative. You didn't. Look at procrastination is death.
Yes.
Literally, procrastination is death. I use that a lot. Why? Because that's exactly what is killing people's dreams, killing people's motivation to do anything, even in their personal life, is procrastination. I'll do it tomorrow. The I do it tomorrow guys, they'll always continue to be tomorrow. You see them 10 years from now still doing the same shit, right? You guys took action. That right there, Lend, is commendable, and you guys got to keep pushing forward. You're gonna have obstacles like everybody else. Everybody here is gonna watch and see that. Look at you're standard people. I'm a normal dude. I'm nothing special, but I have a gift of understanding who I am, how to love myself for who I am, the good, the bad, everything, right? And understanding that if I don't do it, somebody else will anyways, right?
In Miguel's words, if not me, then who?
Exactly.
That's what we learned from the last first meet, actually.
Yeah, and I actually got that from Andy Frisella. It's true. It's like you mimic the great to be great, and put it in your own format. Look at every person that you would consider either motivational or impactful, right? They all say the same shit. Think about it. We all say the same thing, just in a different format or a different way or a different dialogue.
Based off who you are.
Yeah, I want to connect with people just like me. I want to connect with that high school kid that is just like me when I was a high school kid. I want to connect with that young adult, right? That you can be yourself and still be successful. You don't have to be or portray to be somebody else.
Even that, like, I'm sure people would expect just the suit.
Oh,
look at you.
The suit. They'll expect the Louis, the
this.
suit. Don't get me wrong. I always carry a nice watch and I always carry nice shoes. That's my thing. My dad taught me you can tell a lot by a man's watch and shoes, right? And even then, these are used and they're still clean. I take pride in this shit, right? But you don't have to be senses when you make a certain dollar figure. Like when I was making my millions in real estate, when I made my first $1 million, right? Oh, I had to have the nice suit, the $2,000 suit. No one fucking knows it's a $2,000 suit unless I told them, right? And I made sure I tell them. And how fucking stupid is that?
Check out this suit.
But that's who I thought I had to be. And I learned that that's not who you need to be.
I'm sure it made you miserable.
It sucked. I felt like a penguin. I felt like this wasn't me. It wasn't my thing. But it felt that way. Now, don't get me wrong. In certain type of businesses, if I'm dealing with a certain clientele, different demographic, I'm not telling you to go be a chameleon and adapt to that, right? But I'm telling you have to understand and respect other people's opinions when it comes to business. In a sense, if you're trying to do a transaction, if I'm trying to do a multi-million-dollar real estate transaction, and it's an elderly couple, and I understand that they don't quite think tattoos are great, I will wear a long sleeve shirt. I will make sure I respect them, right? But if that is a guy that's tatted just like me, multi-millionaire, and wants me to sell his house, you can be yourself. You can be that person. It's not saying that you're changing who you are. You're just having that respect factor. I respect my elderlies. I get them down. Why would you do that to your skin? I was like, I'm crazy, and then they laugh, and then they get to know me, and then it becomes a relationship.
It becomes invisible.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah,
nice.
And I think, Miguel, it's amazing that you know exactly who your target audience is and who you want to relate to. And the best part about this is that you're doing it right now.
Yeah.
You're relating to everyone that's gone through it, that's gone through the struggle. And we just want to thank you again so much.
Oh, I appreciate that, dude. Always. No, anything
so
I can
we
do.
must ask you.
Yes.
Before we wrap things up, what's next?
Shit, man, I don't even know. No, I know.
We'll be here for days,
so
right?
look, I own 5 different companies. People don't know that. So I own a self-made training facility, which just is the training facility for this location, corporate headquarters. And then I own SMTF Franchising Inc., which is our franchise corporation that sells all our franchises. And then I have Collusion Fitness Products, where we sell all the manufacturing of the equipment. So I sell all the equipment as well, and produce and manufacture that stuff with Foreman Fitness equipment. I also own Self-Made Family Inc., which owns the apparel company and the brand. So that is a different chapter of our business that sells to all our franchises exclusively. And then I have my self-made real estate, my real estate business. My real estate business, I do a lot of flips still. You guys will see that through my social media. I primarily do listings and flips, and then all my buyers are going to my agents. But that's what I'm doing now. The next chapter for me personally for growth, I just got my wholesale retail license in exotic cars.
Congratulations.
So self-made exotics and classics. So I'm going to be flipping cars because I love them. Put it this way. Anything that I love doing, if I can make money doing it, why not?
You like to get paid to play.
Oh, I pay to play all the time, dude. It's not, I will never work a day in my life. Put it that way, right? And what I do is create a revenue stream on something I love. So for me, what's next? I'm going back into the real estate aspect and buying a lot of commercial real estate because we want to put my franchises in them. I'm also doing a lot of flips. So I'm going to concentrate on those core 5 companies and continue to evolve and grow. And then yet, who knows what's going to happen 5, 6, 10 years from now.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, there's no limitations. You want something, go get it. No one else is going to do it for you.
I love that.
No, literally, I will never give you anything. I will never give you anything. I'm telling you that right now. But I will give you enough information for you to make an educated decision of what's best for you. I will help you navigate through my experiences, but that's it. No one's ever going to hand you something. Here's a franchise. Good luck to you, and
what do I do with it?
Make it happen. No, you got to earn it, right? And everybody's got to pay their dues. That 18-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid, 35-year-old kid, 60-year-old kid that's out there, right? No one's ever going to give it to you. I don't care how old, how young you are. You just got to go out and get it.
Man. Okay, Miguel, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and your social media, how they can get in contact maybe with Self-Made?
You can always contact me through my personal Instagram, which is Self-Made Family Inc., Self-Made Family Inc., Self-Made Family INC. And then the training facility is a Self-Made Training Facility. That's the corporate headquarters account. We do have multiple Instagrams, so you can follow those as well. And then you can also follow our YouTube channel, which is under Miguel Aguilar and Self-Made Training Facility. So there's 2 YouTube channels on there. But ideally, the main source is Instagram. I think it's super powerful, and it allows me to connect with the masses. And I do manage and run my own Instagram. I still connect and dialogue. Everything that I put out is organic and authentic. So I want to make sure that people understand that.
You're great on that. I was going to
ask.
I thought he had someone during your account. I was like, there's no way, because you're so on it.
We respond like literally like to everything. I like to respond to everything.
He's
as
really
a company, John does the Self-Made Training Facility one, and he responds to everybody. It's basically the way I would want my things ran.
Got you. And then you guys can follow us at the Unbreakables on Instagram. Follow myself at Gift the Poet. I'm saving hip hop day by day. It's crazy. Follow me on Twitter, Gift the Poet as well. Anything else?
And if if this message resonated with any of you guys, like it, share it with someone in need. And comment below, let us know what you did this week to tackle your purpose. And we're here to connect with you any way, shape, or form. Again, you guys are all unbreakable. Thank you.
Unbreakables.
Money.
We out.
No, thank you, Miguel.
Yeah, anytime.
Appreciate your
Thank
time.
you guys. Appreciate it, brother. Cool.
It's a wrap.
Unbreakable. Unbreakable.